Donald Trump says Israel and Hamas are very close to an agreement on a ceasefire in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu says he's accepted the US proposals for a ceasefire. Meanwhile, Israel is continuing the bombing of the Strip, with more deaths reported this morning. I can speak now to the Deputy Foreign Minister of Israel, Sharren Haskel. Good morning, Ms. Haskel.
Good morning, Trevor.
Can I just start by asking why it is still the case that Israel prohibits any independent media reporting from Gaza?
Oh, it's very simple. I mean, we cannot take the responsibility. This is a war zone, and it's already a very, very difficult scene in a very urban, dense combatants with many tunnels. There's an underground city. Can we afford some journalists to be kidnapped by Hamas, and then Israel will have the responsibility to release them? Can Israel afford them being killed, either by a tragedy or by Hamas? I mean, you need to understand that anything like that will always be blamed on Israel. This will always be Israel's responsibility. No, and as in other areas... And
if I may say so, many of my colleagues and I myself have reported for many years from war zones where things can happen to you. We take that risk because we are professionals. That's our job. Nobody blames Israel. Why will Israel not allow independent media reporting from Gaza?
Well, I have to say, you know, even with the war in Ukraine, you can go into Ukraine and report. This is a very, very large territory. But while an area or zone is being declared that it is at war, reporters are actually being pulled out by the authorities and they close this area. Now, Gaza, the entire Gaza Strip is in a war zone. And so we have taken some journalists under our security also to actually go and view certain situation. But unfortunately, you know, and I understand that in many other cases and in many other conflict area, journalists might be able to go into certain areas. But the fact is that Israel is constantly being singled out. Israel being blamed for many actions, not at her fault as well. And so you must know that if anything happened to these reporters, even when it's not Israel's fault,
if I may,
Israel will constantly be blamed.
If I may, I'm only really asking you this because it becomes very difficult, even for Israel's friends, to defend its actions if they don't know for themselves what is happening. And so, for example, this morning we understand that 26 people were killed in an Israeli attack near an aid distribution center. What can you tell us about that?
So I've just checked because that was breaking just as I was coming online to your show. The IDF said it's actually reviewing this issue right now to see it. They didn't have any information to give me before I came online with you. But I have to say that during the last week, we have heard so much propaganda coming from Hamas about the humanitarian distribution point that I wouldn't be surprised if that's another case like that.
If I may say so, Ms. Haskel, I've just asked you about a very specific incident. It's a Red Cross hospital. We are getting reports. We can't verify it for ourselves. And I'm just trying, as I can, to get you to explain what you think has happened. From what you've already said, you seem to be accepting that there would be some Israeli Defense Force responsibility here.
No, absolutely not. I said that we've just heard about this case from your media, and that was literally 2 minutes before I came online to your show. I immediately asked to get some information, whether there's something like that, and they said they have no information and that they are searching for that information. I will not come and tell you lies. I will not come
but you've just said that you know for a fact the IDF wasn't involved. I mean...
No, I said that
either we know or we don't know.
Well, if you want... not to report directly from the mouth of Hamas propaganda. There needs to be time for investigation
I would like
understand
to
whether there was
from the ground.
Whether there was,
but you won't let that happen. I'm asking you if you can tell me what your account is, and you've just actually literally said two separate things. One is the IDF is trying to work out what's going on, and then you've also then said the IDF is not responsible in any way.
So what I said
how are we
is that
supposed to read this?
Exactly as I said it, clearly. I came on your show 2 minutes after this incident was reported by international channels. I'm not in Gaza. I don't know every single thing that actually happens there, but I let the time to investigate this issue. And then when I've been given the information, I can give you accurate information. I don't take the propaganda of Hamas as a given fact. And so I give the proper authorities in our IDF, who has been very accurate with almost all the information they've been telling all of the international media. So I suggest we wait. It won't probably take long, and I will receive information as much as the Israeli defense spokesperson will give you some of this information as well.
All right.
The fact is, I don't know whether there was an event like that or there wasn't an event like that, and I'm waiting on that report from the proper authorities.
Okay, thank you. There's one thing you probably can talk to us about from your own knowledge. How close are we to a ceasefire?
Well, unfortunately, this morning or last night, Hamas rejected yet again another proposal for a ceasefire. Even the PLO activists said that this proposal of Witkoff, the envoy Witkoff, was very balanced in between both sides, yet Hamas refused it again. There were many proposals in the last couple of months suggested by the envoy as well, and every time Hamas rejected it again. Israel accepted them. We can go into a ceasefire today. We could have gone into a ceasefire 2 weeks ago. But unfortunately, Hamas refused to accept any kind of deal over and over again.
Well, of course, that is not the way that they would see it. But let me ask you
these are the facts. I understand that the terrorist organization wouldn't see that, but the fact is, and Witkoff said it very clearly in his post this morning as well, that Hamas's response is unacceptable and is absolutely a disgrace. And he calls them to at least come to the framework of what was discussed.
Can I ask you something about the Israeli government's own calculations here, if I can put it this way? Your cabinet minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, is reported as having said this week that it's time to go in with full force without blinking to destroy, kill Hamas to the last one. What we see from the reporting, and indeed from Israeli television's own reporting, are the children, the bodies of dead children, some of them at least casualties of Israeli attacks. Whatever the truth or not truth of this matter, does the Israeli government accept that what is happening now is that Israel is steadily being deprived of its allies, of sympathy, even for those who support the existence of the state of Israel? Do you accept that there is a growing diplomatic problem for Israel out of this situation?
Oh, I know how Israel has been singled out time after time. The fact is, you cannot name me even a single war that children didn't die. A war is a tragic thing. It's a terrible thing. It's heartbreaking. It's cruel. We didn't want a war. Matter of fact, Israel did anything in its capability to try to avoid a war because we know what the results are of a war.
It may be inevitable, but forces involved in war do have some responsibility to try to limit those casualties. And the question I'm really asking is, to what extent does Israel see it as part of its role now to deal with this, Trevor, irrespective of what the opposition does? Because as Israeli officials constantly point out to us, Israel is not the same as Hamas. And I think that must be right. Israel is a democratic society. Its values are different. And the question really is, to what extent does Israel accept that it has to behave differently to its opponents here?
Well, Trevor, the fact is that Israel is fulfilling all of international law. The fact is that our army is equipped with many, many legal advisors and lawyers who are supervising every single step. The fact is that the level, of where Israel actually reached in regards to try to avoid casualty is not met by any other army. No other army is capable of reaching that standard of what Israel actually reached during this war. The fact is that we evacuate area, we send warning. Right now, right now, the areas who are in a conflict, in war, were tried to be evacuated for a couple of weeks now. The problem is that Hamas is holding hostages, not just Israelis, but Palestinians as human shields.
Minister, thank you very much. We would like to be able to verify all that you've said for ourselves, and I hope that your government will consider, in short order, allowing organisations like Sky News to do exactly that. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
We will be very happy to facilitate organized trips of reporters. We do that quite often as well. Thank you.
Thank you.